Hello guys, good morning everybody. I hope I am audible to you. If I'm audible, just let me know. Hanji, do let me know whether I'm audible or not. Audible, right? Okay. Chali. So gonna start the session. Just let me know that whether this newspaper is visible to you guys. Chali. So gonna start the session. Just let me know that whether this newspaper is visible to you guys. Okay. Now this is the main news that we have in our, let's say, the front page. I think everybody could see over here that it is related to pulses prices may spiral as deficient rains mar sowing. Now, one of the things that we have to understand is that already we have seen the impact of inflation, or we can say the results of inflation that were, let's say, very much within the limits when we were talking in the months of May and June. But since the onset of the July and August, due to this monsoon season and the incessant rains that we had seen the prices of the tomato going up, and it was a little, let's say, they were increased by huge margins. As a result, we can say it created a lot of impact on the inflation that were witnessed in our कंट्री राइट. बहुत ज्यादा इन्फ्लेशन का इम्पैक्ट हो गया था, उसका इम्पैक्ट भी देखने को मिला आपने, है ना. अभी अगर हम बात करें, यहाँ पे ये क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, दे आर ट्राइंग टू से tomato prices may be cooling from recent highs, but pulses could play the next spoil sport in the battle against inflation with a below par monsoon in the August, dragging down the sown area for pulses in the Kharif season by almost 10% from a year ago. Now, one of the things that they are trying to, let's say, cautioning us is against the increase in the prices of the pulses. That could also see the impact, and we can see that their prices might also get increased due to, let's say, this below par monsoon season, right? So this is the worry that is there in front of us. Already we have seen the impacts of inflation, impacts of the food inflation, primarily caused by the increase in the prices of tomato. And if we are able to witness another inflation, let's say, in the context of pulses, which is very very important, let's say, Hana, because we can say that pulses and tomato are very very important. These are included in our staple diet as well. So this is the impact that we are witnessing right now because of the below par monsoon. Can I say or attribute this particular point that somehow these are attributed to a part of climate change? I'm not saying this below par monsoon has come because of climate change only, but yes, climate change is also one of the reason, because I think you must be knowing about this particular point, that climate change leads to the following impacts like floods, like droughts, right? So this is a kind of a drought like situation where there hasn't been enough rainfall. When there hasn't been enough rainfall, so the sowing has come down. As a result, supply has come down. Now, if supply has come down without compromising with the demand, then it would directly lead to the shoot up of the prices. That is basically the inflation. Now, one of the reason we can say is here the major factor that have contributed, it could be, one would be climate change. Now, one thing you have to understand, that is why a government and all across, you can talk about United Nation organization bodies, talk about climate smart agriculture. Now this aspect is growing very much rapidly, considering the impact climate has on the agriculture part. So we need to be made sure that we are also very much resilient, we are very much innovative, and we can, let's say, adopt agriculture that could be basically adapted to climate change. So one of the things that you need to understand is, if pulses require water for, let's say, they require water for their minimum production, so why are we basically focusing only towards mill pulses? Rather, we can go for those particular crops which can require less amount of water, that are millets, right? So these are the things that could be adopted by our country, which could help us benefit a lot. Plus it will supplement our nutritional requirement as well. I think everybody knows that this year is particularly the international year of millets. Yes, when it was launched this year, it was with great high spirits, but now we can see there is not much buzz related to millets that we can witness over here in the country as well as international wise, right? So one of the thing we need to understand is we need to get the people a proper nutrition as well, and without compromising on their proper nutrition, if we can get a particular crop that requires lesser amount of water as well, so why not go for those particular crops, and why not go for those particular food options when they could have a, let's say, very good positive effect on the environment as well, and that can adapt to the impacts of climate change as well. So that is why we need to be very much smart in our approach, because these type of things like increase in the price of tomato, increase in the price of pulses, this will always be there. Why? Because there would be sometimes less rainfall, sometimes there would be more rainfall, but impact would be on their production. So why we have to be just dependent upon climate or climate as a factor in order to make sure that we are getting our nutrition or getting our food requirements? So we have to go way beyond more than that, and we have to understand that this is the time of climate smart agriculture. So this is the thing we need to understand. I hope this point is clear to everybody, right? And I think you could see over here, this chart is basically showing, as you can see over here, the change in the area shown compared with last year's figure. So you can, I think you could see over here, this is the change year on year percentage that has been, let's say you can talk over here that there has been a change in the pulses in the minus category, that you can see minus 9.2%. You can see one or two things, that area under rice, maize, cereals, these are the things that have been given more value rather than the pulses and the jowar, where we are seeing the area has gone, let's say, in the minus as compared to the area sown when we compare it with rice and maize. Why rice का area ज़्यादा sown होता है वो हमें actually पता होना चाहिए, because these are the things that directly come under minimum support price, right? I hope this point is clear to everybody. ओके सो सर न्यूज़पेपर से रिलेटेड कुछ एक्स्ट्रा पॉइंट भी ऐड कर दीजिए. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू डू, आरुषि सिंह, आई होप यू आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड. If I'm making you understand way beyond this newspaper, I think it shall be beneficial for you guys, right? So if you want to stick me directly to newspaper, then this newspaper session, let's say related to pulses, would have been over by now. Are you getting my point? So try to be more, let's say, reasonable, and try to be more tolerant as well. Okay, I hope this point is clear to everybody, that what is the scene that we are witnessing right now. Area under pulses has come down as well as compared to the area under rice. But one thing we need to understand, that this is the point, that it is related to climate smart agriculture, that shall be the need of the hour, where we shall try to focus on these particular points. Okay. Now moving to the next part, there is nothing much important over here that could be discussed. Let's say directly going to the editorial page. Okay. Now this editorial is very interesting. Now here they are talking about, let's say, I think everybody is aware of this particular part or this particular editorial, that one thing we are understanding, that there have been three new bills that have been introduced, that is related to Indian Penal Code, Code of Criminal Procedure, and Indian Evidence Act. Now let's try to see what is the whole controversy over here. One thing that they have done, that the government has brought in this new bill, they have changed the language or the name of the act, right? As you can see over here, Indian Penal Code has been now replaced by Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita. Okay, so the first thing that you need to understand is Indian Penal Code is now replaced by Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita. The Code of Criminal Procedure by Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita. So this is the second thing. And the third thing is Indian Evidence Act by Bharatiya Sakshya Bill. Now, one of the things that is being discussed in this particular editorial, might be this editorial is little bit political, but the crux we need to understand, the important thing we need to draw from this particular editorial is that they are trying to say that in this article they will not talk about what is there in the new bills, that is the body of the bills, but they are just focusing on the title of the new bills. I think everybody could see over here that these titles of the new bills, which were earlier, let's say, the were in pre-colonial times, were in English language, but they now have been replaced by Hindi language. I think everybody could see over here, as Indian Penal Code is now Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Code of Criminal Procedure by Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, and Indian Evidence Act by Bharatiya Sakshya Bill. So the one of the important thing that we can draw from this particular new bills are that they have been run what? They have been, or their name have been changed to what? The Hindi language. Now here the question is whether it is right upon the government that they are bringing these new laws and they are making the title of these new laws in the Hindi language. Now consider Article 348 of our Constitution. Now this becomes very, very important, that authoritative text of all the acts passed by the parliament or state legislature shall be in English language. Very important. आर्टिकल 348 कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का बोल रहा है द अथॉरिटेटिव टेक्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द एक्ट्स विच आर पास बाय पार्लियामेंट or state legislature, they shall be in English language. But what we are witnessing in these new bills is the bodies are in English language, but the titles is in Hindi language, which goes against the embargo placed in this particular article. So it is totally against the article 348, where it is certainly saying the authoritative text shall be in which language? That shall be in English language. Now this is the thing we need to understand and basically make sure we are able to let's say understand the whole issue. One of the thing you need to understand that India, if we talk about, is a very much a diverse country. There are so many languages that are being spoken in India. Let's say North India, I can say, is majority, let's say, Hindi speaking population, and in the southern states we have non Hindi speaking population. Now this was the debate that arose after the independence, when it was being decided what shall be our official language, right? So there were a lot of debates whether shall be our official language, क्या हमारी national language होनी चाहिए, हमारी official language क्या होनी चाहिए. आज के टाइम पे अगर हम बात करें, we have official language by English and Hindi. But one thing you need to understand, that in our country there are a lot of languages that are being spoken by different diverse groups that we have in our country. So the question is, if we are using this particular text of the bills or the name of the bills in Hindi language, can't we say it is being, let's say, as an imposition of the culture of linguistic majority on linguistic minorities? But what we are trying to do, भाई हम क्या करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं यार, यहाँ पे तुमने हिंदी में टेक्स्ट ला दिया. नाउ इफ यू आर मेकिंग अ टेक्स्ट इन हिंदी, व्हाट यू आर ट्राइंग टू डू, you are trying to impose that language on the non Hindi speaking states. That has been a quite concern as well, that has been a quite problem as well, that has been a quite let's say problem of protest as well, that is whether Hindi shall be imposed or not on the non Hindi speaking states. So this is the matter that is being erupted with this new language of these three new bills. First of all, we need to understand that these new bills are not being discussed in the parliament, but they have been sent to a parliamentary committee where they are being, let's say, standing committee for home affairs, where they are being scrutinized, right? So this is the thing that has been done. One thing you need to understand is, यस, वन ऑफ द कंटेक्स्ट इज यार, कहीं ना कहीं ये ना एक इम्पोजिशन की बात होती है. बट कहीं ना कहीं हम ये नहीं बोल सकते कि इंडिया में अगर हम बात करें, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु स्पीक इन हिंदी लैंग्वेज. सो वन थिंग वी कैन से दैट इफ वी कंसीडर फ्रॉम द हिंदी स्पीकिंग पीपल, today to we say we are more in number, so other communities must assimilate into our culture and speak our language, is simply majoritarianism and is antithetical to the constitution. So one of the debate, what the Hindi speaking population would say, that we are in majority, it shall be the duty, let's say, of all the people who are there in this country shall assimilate this particular language and culture. But this is simply, we can say, a total a majoritarian concept, right? And one of the things that we also have to understand is, there is a part in our constitution which tries to say that this shall be the duty of the union, that they try to promote the use of Hindi language. Now this is also given. So this thing is also very interesting. That is what union government has done. What union government has done, they are trying to promote the union, let's say, use of the Hindi language, so that people are aware of it, people get assimilate into Hindi language, and over the period of time we can make this a official language, right? So these are a lot of confusing things that comes from this issue of language that needs to be addressed in a very rightful manner. So this is the thing that has been discussed in this particular article. One thing you need to know, the names have been changed. This is against article 348, but there is also another article which talks about that the union government shall promote the use of Hindi language. So the context over here is, when we are trying to impose Hindi language on the non Hindi speaking states, it is basically an act of majoritarianism. It is somehow something against our constitution as well, partly, and it could be seen as an imposition of the culture of linguistic majority on linguistic minorities. When we try to say we are a democratic country, we are a federal country, we respect each and other state's powers, culture as well. So whether we shall be in the state, whether we are trying to impose Hindi language on the non Hindi speaking states. I hope this point is clear to everybody. Hanji. So these were the things that have been discussed in this particular editorial. Okay. Now, this is an article related to pilot fatigue in India, a wake up call for airlines. This is a part of a case study. You just need to know that there is a lot of pressure on pilots because they have to work for a very long duration. They have to work for the commercial airlines, who basically main purpose is to mint profit. And one of the things that you need to understand is, now as the footfalls of the people who are now traveling through the, let's say, airlines or aviation has increased, as a result pressure on the pilots have also increased. So one of the question that has been discussed over here, that is a very rightful discussion, is that is pilot fatigue in India. Because one of the thing that we need to understand is pilot fatigue creates very undisturbing scenes, because there could be a lot of tragedy that could happen in the air because of this pilot fatigue. And we have seen the example of our country as well as in other countries as well, where we have seen disasters related to aviation sector when it talks about pilot fatigue. So there has to be proper rules, there has to be a proper guidelines that shall be maintained by the government of India as well, where we have the Directorate General of Civil Aviation that tries to control the civil aviation sector. They have to make sure that they have a proper guidelines, a proper age as well, where people should work between these particular age, a proper working hour shall be there, proper scrutiny of the persons, or let's say the persons who are flying the airplane, that are the pilots, there shall be conducted in a regular manner. Only then we can assure a safe and a free travel for everybody, right? So this is a thing that has been discussed over here. Nothing you need to know much into it, but you need to know that there is a situation of pilot fatigue in India. Okay, now moving to the next part. Now, I think we have already discussed this a lot, that is crafting safe, generative artificial intelligence systems. Now, one of the things that you need to understand is that today we are in this day and age of what? We are in the day and age of technology. And one of the important boon I can say could be the artificial intelligence. It has a lot of applications, and I can say it has lot of infinite applications. One of the example of its potential impact could be the, consider the ongoing pilot of Jugalbandi, a chatbot in rural India, which promises to serve as a universal translator, accepting queries in local language, retrieving answer from English language sources, and presenting back to the users in their native language. This service can alone democratize access to information, improve the economic well-being of millions of people, and this is only one of the hundred of new services which are being developed. So this is the thing that you need to understand as well. These are the type of things you have to mention in your answers as well. That only will give you a major marks in the answers when you are able to quote these type of examples, right? So this is the thing that you need to understand, that the important part over here is that consider this particular Jugalbandi chatbot in the rural India. What it is trying to do? It is basically acting as what? It is acting as a universal translator. कि भाई वो ट्रांसलेट कर रहा है जो आपकी इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज है उसको रीजनल लैंग्वेज में कर रहा है, देन इट इज कन्वर्टिंग अगेन रीजनल लैंग्वेज इनटू इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, एंड इट इज प्रोवाइडिंग एक्सेस टू द people. So this is a very important thing, that is one of the major impacts of technology that we can witness, right? I will say tell you one more thing, that in Finland they have developed a particular AI system. When you check into an airport, let's say, you need not to, let's say when we check into an airport, you have to, let's say, keep your mobile phone, laptops, and electronic items belt in a separate container, and then they are checked by in a manual manner by particular persons. But they have installed a particular machine on that particular thing where it is checked in an artificial intelligence manner. Can you see one thing, that it saves a lot of time, artificial intelligence, where in Finland people have doesn't need to come, let's say as in India for domestic flights, let's say 2 hours before, 3 hours before, or 4 hours before. There they can just come 16 minutes before the flight takeoff, and they would be able to board the plane. So these are the certain instances and the benefits of the artificial intelligence technology that one needs to understand, one needs to adhere to, and one shall seek their potential as well. But if there is positive thing, then there are a lot of people who are also using them in a very negative manner. Now one of the important thing that is being done, or the bad thing that is being done with this particular artificial intelligence, is the use of deep fakes. Very important. As you can see, using AI tools to misrepresent people or create fake information is at the heart of the safety debate. Now this is the thing that is being witnessed right now. We had seen in the protests that were being organized by our wrestling our wrestling community as well, where there were a lot of artificial intelligence generated images which were fake. So deepfake is the part of what where you can have wrong information that is being portrayed through any text, through any video, through any picture, and through any sound. Plus, it's let's say most negative use is in the field of pornography, where particular person's image is being, let's say, superimposed on another particular image, and that is being used to harnish, or let's say to basically tarnish someone's reputation and respect as well. So these are the things that are being done in the field of artificial intelligence. It has a lot of concerns in the field of security. It has a lot of concerns in the field of safety with this deep fake technologies that are being used by the negative elements of this particular technology. So the question comes that what we need to do in order to regulate them. Now this is the most important question, because all over the globe the regulations are being sought that what needs to be done in order to make sure that we are having a very much important use or very safe use of artificial intelligence technology. Now one of the things that is being said over here is regulation is necessary but not sufficient. A broader approach shall be considered, and they are trying to say it is the responsibility of the global leaders to guarantee the secure and safe deployment of generative AI. We need to reimagine our safety assurance paradigm and build a trust framework to ensure global identity assurance, information integrity. Beyond regulation, we need to engineer our online safety. Now, you can use this direct conclusion in your mains answer when you're writing about artificial intelligence. This is how you build your answers. This is how you build your conclusion. One of the things that we need to understand, that it shall be the global leaders that needs to come at this particular point and try to make sure that we need to have a safe and secure artificial intelligence, right? I think this is the point that you need to अंडरस्टैंड. एक ब्रॉडर अप्रोच, ये रेगुलेशन तो ठीक होती है, आपको अवेयरनेस भी क्रिएट करनी पड़ेगी, आपको चेक्स भी रखने पड़ेंगे, आपको सिक्योरिटी भी बढ़ानी पड़ेगी, आपको ऑनलाइन सेफ्टी प्रोटोकॉल्स भी बनाने पड़ेंगे. यू हैव टू डेवलप कन्वेंशंस एज वेल. सो दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट वन नीड्स टू डू when we talk about the concerns that we have with artificial intelligence technology. I hope this point is clear to everybody and you are able to understand the gist of this artificial intelligence, like the examples I have given you in the field of Finland country, like the example we have given in the case of rural India where a Jugalbandi chatbot is being used. I think everyone is aware of chat GPT as well, right? One of the things that you can say is it will make the work easier as well. But one of the things that you have to understand is that students are also misusing in there for their own purpose. They are not writing, they're just copy and pasting it from chat GPT. So that is also one of the concerns that is highlighted with artificial intelligence, right guys? Okay, now moving to the next part. Now this is a very very interesting article, as you can see over here. Now one of the things that you need to understand is RBI provides loan to many sectors, right? So one of the thing is that you provide the loan, but before the loan is given, one thing is done by the banks, that is they try to process the basically the person or the all the details of the person on whom the loan is to be given or to whom the loan is to be given, regarding whether that particular person would be able to pay the interest, what is the salary of that particular person, whether he would be able to pay the principal amount in time, whether what shall be the interest rate that we shall charge from a purpose or from a per person, right? So as a result, when a bank is basically forwarding a loan to a particular sector or to a particular community, there is not enough smoother transition or facilitation of credit. In order to ease this process, in order to make frictionless credit available to certain persons, the RBI has now come up with the public tech platform for frictionless credit that would strive to enable delivery of frictionless credit by facilitating seamless flow of required digital information to lenders. Now this is the most important thing that is being done, because one of the things that you need to understand is that this process will try to evaluate and accordingly predict the prospective borrower's ability for repayment of credit. This pre-dispersal process is important for banks since it would in turn determine their interest income and impact on the balance sheet. The central banking regulator has observed that the data required for the process rests with different entities. Thus, being in separate system, it creates hindrances in frictionless and timeless delivery of rule-based lending. The problem that they are trying to highlight over here is a very genuine problem. See, a lot of information regarding a person's is being with different agencies. So what they are trying to do is they are trying to bring all the information under one particular platform. So as a result, it would become easy for the banks to pass on their loans. I think everybody can see over here that there is a different data required for the process rest with different entities like central and state government, account aggregator, bank credit information companies, digital identity authorities. So as a result, what they are trying to do, they are trying to bring all together in a single place to facilitate frictionless and timely delivery of loans. The central banking regulator already had instituted a pilot project for the digitalization of Kisan credit card loans of less than 1.6 lakh in September 2022. It tested end-to-end digitalization of the lending process in a paperless and a hassle-free manner. This project is being going on in the select districts of Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, and Karnataka. I hope this point is clear to everybody, but this is the thing that we need to understand. Ashu, it's very simple. They don't want that there shall be any delay. There shall not be, let's say, information that is coming. One information is with another part. One information is with other part. So they want frictionless, seamless. You can use the word more. You can use the word seamless, right? So this is the thing that we need to understand. That is the way that they are trying to create this platform so that they have all the information in one particular single place. So that when a loan has to be provided, they have all the information that is related to pre-scrutiny that is being done before a loan is being disbursed. So you can say this is one of the most important part of financial inclusion. This is the most important part as through which banks could make sure that it is not creating a stress on their balance sheet as well, because one of the thing we need to understand that banking sector के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रेस रहता है किसका, नॉन परफॉर्मिंग एसेट्स का, और इसी चीज को एक तरह से कम करने के लिए ये एक नया प्लेटफॉर्म बनाया है किसने, आरबीआई ने. Okay guys, so I think these were the most important news that we had in today's newspaper. I don't think we have something extra important. Okay, right guys, so this is it for today. If you have any doubt you can ask me, and we are done with our today's analysis, right? Yes, Ashu Sharma, you can say, and the example Vijay Mallya. Not only Vijay Mallya, we have a lot of non-performing assets that have, let's say, taken the money away from the India, right? That's the hard-earned money of the people, and they have now used it for their advantage, right, guys? Chaliye. So thank you so much, and we will see each other tomorrow. And that's it. If anyone has any doubt, you can ask me. A borrowing approach that seeks to. Yes, Arushi, very good. It is a borrowing approach that is seeking to streamline the lending process for consumers. Absolutely. It will also facilitate the ending, let's say, the lending process. Oh, ho, ho. Can artificial intelligence, you have to fed in a particular, see, this is basically about a certain compound that we are trying to make, right? So it could be a difficult task, but we never know what happens, let's say in the let's say in the coming ages, we might be able to. Okay guys, so thank you so much. We will see each other tomorrow same time 9 a.m. Till then, take care, bye bye, and enjoy your day.